Most people think that when you start making money, you should look the part. Fancy clothes, nice accessories, a nice car, a luxury apartment, because that's what success looks like, right? Now, one of the richest people that I've ever met didn't look rich at all. This person drove a regular car, lived in a regular house, and lived a regular life. You might be wondering, how rich was this man or woman? Very rich, but not a public figure. Let's take a look at some publicly rich and famous examples. Why do people like Mark Cuban and Mark Zuckerberg wear such simple clothes? In today's video, I want to talk about a trending topic on social media, which is whether looking poor is actually important. If you're new here, my name is Alice. I'm a chartered professional accountant, and on my channel, I help you with all things money, making, saving, and investing. So do me a favor, if you find any value in my videos, make sure you hit the like button, turn on the notification bell, join my newsletter if you want to hear more from me regularly, and let's get into it. So let's talk about the cost of impressing. A couple years ago, Kevin and I were in Hong Kong. We were traveling, and we stopped by this custom bespoke tailor suit place. I think it was the same guy who made the suits for Anthony Bourdain. I think we just Googled the guy and found the address and walked in. It's not like by appointment or anything like that. And I remember he was showing us all of these different colors and fabrics and materials for suits. And then he specifically showed us a couple of different colors and said, these are the investment banker suits. You know, that like stereotypical navy blue suit that all the finance bros wear with a really crisp white shirt. You know, if you walk down any finance district in Hong Kong or New York, you'll see like a lot of these guys in that exact suit. They kind of look like carbon copies of each other. It kind of reminds me of that scene in American Psycho where they're like comparing the business cards and all the business cards are the same color, the same shade of white. If I recall correctly, the price of one of these suits, I believe, started at $1,000 US. This was like back many years ago, before COVID inflation. Now, I'm not a guy, I don't wear suits. I don't know how many of these suits that you would need, but I know for a girl, you know, a pair of designer shoes typically starts at $1,000, and a designer purse, a nice one, starts at $5,000. The point I'm trying to make is that the cost of impressing other people, the cost of appearing like you have money, the cost of appearing like you're successful is very expensive. So let me introduce you to someone named Frankie. Frankie is a stereotypical 26-year-old finance bro that went to an Ivy League school and now works in white-collar finance, doing DCFs for 60 hours a week. Frankie in finance does everything perfectly. He works hard, he climbs up the corporate ladder, and he realizes that he needs to spend money to fit in with his peers and look good at work. Right, so what does Frankie do? Frankie leases a Mercedes-Benz for $1,000 a month, spends $500 a month on clothes and accessories. For reference, that's like 3 shirts from Lululemon. And so that is $1,500 a month or $18,000 a year, just to look the part. Frankie in finance also pays $3,000 to rent a luxury apartment, and he still owes $50,000 in student loans. Now, even if Frankie in finance is doing everything right, he's a top performer at work, maybe making $10,000 to $15,000 a month. $1,500 a month actually costs you a lot of money over time. Even if Frankie in finance were to spend $1,000 on miscellaneous things, $1,000 after 10 years is worth $60,000, and that's not invested. If it were invested, it would be probably closer to $100,000. So through my experience of working as an auditor, and also when I was in consulting, I would be exposed to CEOs and CFOs of big companies, some of them public companies. Most of them were more low-key and classy, and definitely not like what you see in movies and TV shows. If you look at a lot of people who have created wealth in their lifetime, Naval Ravikant, Satya Nadella, Mark Cuban, Mark Zuckerberg, you'll notice that they all dress pretty normally and pretty casually. And I think one thing that these guys all have in common is that, yeah, they make a lot of money, but they also have a purpose and they have a passion beyond just the dollar. This is just my own opinion, but if all it comes down to is chasing money for the sake of chasing money to impress other people, then you're more likely to spend money to impress other people once you make it. So I think being frugal, or not even frugal, just like disciplined with your money and being good with your money and managing money will never hurt you. And you know, if you want to start a business one day, you're going to have to save a little bit of money before going out on your own. And then once your business starts making money, you then have to take that money and reinvest it back into the business so the business can actually grow. The skill of being able to hold on to and manage money, in my opinion, is what's needed to make a lot of money and to continue to grow your wealth. And this is just my opinion, but I think a lot of these guys, once they made it, they then realized that you know, it wasn't really about chasing money in the first place, but rather than it was about the journey. You might be wondering to yourself, well, life's too short. I do want to spend a little bit of money and I don't want to look poor or look broke. And, you know, I don't think anybody actually does. Let me introduce you to something called the 10% rule. If you want to buy luxury things or buy nice things, then allocate a small amount of your income to having those things, like what we call like fun money, right? Having a little bit of fun money never hurts. It's good for the soul. And if you're at a point where you cannot buy all the things that you want with 10% of your income, which is pretty normal, I'm at the same spot too, right? Like I still have to be disciplined and frugal myself because I'm taking a lot of money that I make and reinvesting it back into my business, right? When it comes to like clothes and shoes and like things that you wear, quality over quantity is always my philosophy. I would personally rather buy a couple of pieces that are a little bit more expensive. I don't call them investments as if they're going to make me money, but I just see them as pieces that I can wear for many years. Like I have many dresses that I purchased way back when I worked in corporate many years ago that were a little bit pricier, and you know, they still look brand new and I still can wear them today, and like no one knows that I bought it 5 years ago, right? It still looks really nice, as opposed to buying, you know, spending a lot of money on clothes and then having to constantly go through and recycle all of your clothes. You actually end up spending more money doing that than just buying a couple of nice things. So if you're a girl, you understand what I mean, like being able to mix and match between some more expensive pieces and, you know, just some regular clothes. It's kind of like a skill in of itself, right? So the takeaway, I think, just by studying other people that are wealthy, or famously wealthy, is that true wealth doesn't need to scream, it whispers. And looking poor isn't the goal per se, but not needing to prove that you're rich to anyone is the power. Because the less that you care about impressing other people, the faster that you build your own wealth for yourself. There's definitely an unspoken power in being modest as well. Privacy, you avoid fake friends. You have more privacy, you avoid fake friends, you avoid people who treat you like an ATM. There are a lot of reasons why millionaires dress like regular people, and it's not just to save money for the purposes of saving money. So there's this book called The 48 Powers of Law, and the first law in that book states to never outshine the master. I think it's never a bad idea to come in a little bit more underestimated or understated, just because when people perceive you to be wealthier than them, you think that, you know, you're impressing them, but what you're actually doing is giving them the impression that you're a threat. You know, this is why people, they win the lottery and they wear that like black mask in their lottery photo, because they don't want anyone to know, because they don't want friends and family to start asking. People are very sensitive and perceptive to small symbols of wealth. Even the smallest things can cause a person to be jealous and can change a person's entire perception of you. Now, not everyone prescribes to the idea of quiet wealth. I personally do. The quiet wealth is built on a foundation of making money quietly, saving it quietly, and investing it quietly, and choosing not to let anyone know about it because you're doing it for yourself, not for other people. Everyone wants financial freedom, which is to have enough money so you can just live off the dividends and never have to work anymore. But not everything in life is just about the dollars. When it comes to freedom, there's also time freedom, right? Which is the ability to do what you want with your time and spend your time how you want, to see your kids, to spend time with your friends and family. Then there's also location freedom, which to me is a really important aspect of my life as well. If you like this video today, you're gonna love my other video on how to think like the top 1%. We talk about mindset, we talk about investments, super valuable video. I'll leave a link top there. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time.